Hello guys, welcome to pcdrills. Here we are moving on to level 2 of our Linux course, and we hope you are following up with the course in the chronological manner. If not, you might get some issues ahead because you might not understand what we are talking about since it has been done in the previous lesson. So today, to keep things more organized, I decided to create our schedule for the day. So we are going to start by revising what we did in the last lesson, and next we go to how to create files and directories, and next we see how to delete files and directories, and next we see how to rename files and directories, view history of what we have been doing on the terminal, and finally, if there's anything you don't get or wish to be better explained, put that at the comment section. So guys, that's just all we are going to handle today. So let's start with our first point, revision of the last lesson. In the last lesson, we saw how to navigate between files and directories and how to view the various contents of directories. So for example, we made use of the command ls. ls was to view the various files found in a directory. We had pwd, which was to show our current working directory, and we had also the cd command, which was to change into various directories. So that's what we did in our last lesson. If you don't understand, maybe you go there and watch again, or you can just keep a comment about what you don't really get and we'll explain that to you. So without much wasting our time, let's move further to our own task for today. And guys, remember, Linux is not something you can learn in an hour or in 10 minutes time, so it's good you follow up keenly and it will help you better. So moving on to our task of today, our first part is creating files and directories. So let's move over to our desktop. That's where we work today. So let's move over there and create some files and directories. So cd, as we saw last time, desktop, to move to our desktop. So inside the desktop, let's just see what we have. That's what we have inside the desktop. Let's create a directory and work with today. So let's just create a directory with the command called mkdir. So you can call it make directory. So that's how this command is being called, make directory, and then you give the name of the directory that you wish to create. So I can call the directory maybe pcdrills lesson 2. And guys, when creating files or directories or anything on Linux, it's preferable you use just a single word, because if you type things having multiple words, you will consider that as multiple files. For example, let's just create this lesson 2 and work inside. Let me explain to you what I'm trying to say. And when you create something and you don't see an error, it means it has been created successfully. So if there was an error, you see but an error message here before moving on to the next command. So cd, now I can move into the directory I just created, and you can use a tab key on your keyboard to autocomplete for you. So if you just type pc and you put drills, you can press tab and it fills with the word that is likely to correspond to what you have already typed. So that's just an easy way. So if you have a long file name, that's how you easily get to use it. And now I'm in the folder I just created, so I can put pwd for you to see. The name of the folder I'm working in is home, coda desktop, pcdrills lesson 2. So now you can create other files and directories. Let me first of all explain to you what I mean by use just one word for your file names. Don't use multiple words. The reason was because let's say I come here again and I create another folder. Let's say make d mkdir and I give a name, maybe file 1, file 2, file 3. If I do this, the Linux shell, because these commands are being executed by the shell, so if I do this, the shell is going to create 3 different directories. One will be named file 1, another one file 2, and the third will be file 3. So let's just press enter and you see that we have 3 different files created in this directory. I put ls and see we have 3 different files created in this directory. So if I do again and create maybe file 4, file 5 and put ls again, you can see we have the same number of, you can see we have added 2 other files in the directory we are working with. So, and you can use the arrow up button to go to previous commands you have just typed. So if you have typed something above, you can just use the arrow up and you move back to the previous commands you have just typed, and you can just edit portions that you want to edit. So if you want to create a file, let's say I've created a file named file 1 and you want to create another one file 2, you can just use the arrow up button, just change the 1 to 2, and that's just it. So here I've just used the arrow up button and I've created file 4 and file 5. So I can just put ls and you see now that I have but 5 folders inside this directory. So guys, that's just basically the way you create folders in Linux. That's how you create directories. So now let's say you wish to create a file. A file is actually what contains data. I suggest you should use the touch command. This touch command is used to create files in Linux. So with files, they usually have extensions, and most files in Linux are usually text files. So text files are just readable files having just text, and some files could be config files, binary files, but basically you will mostly work with text files. You can't be editing binary files, but for config files you edit them when need be. But for the simplicity of the course, let's just consider our simple text files. So let's create a text file. Let's say text1. To create a text file, you have to put the extension .txt. So text1.txt will create a file called text.txt. So I can put ls here. You see now that instead of just having our 5 folders, we have another file called text.txt. And I told you in the last lesson the colors matter. For directories have blue color, files have the white color. Please keep that in mind because it's very essential for you to remember. And with this ls command, on some machines, when you put ls, everything will display in white. So if that's the case with your own machine, you have to put ls and you put tag color. When I say tag color, it simply means minus minus color. So don't get confused. Tag color and you press enter. That is for someone whose machine displays everything with a white color. And if your own displays with the various colors without you having to put color, then it's great. Then probably you're on Ubuntu or maybe Kali Linux, something like that. because these commands have aliases. Aliases simply mean a shortcut for a particular command to do the same stuff. But don't worry, we'll get to that when the time comes. Right now we are still at creating the various files and the directories. Now I've shown you how to create a file and how to create a directory. Let me now show you how you can create a file inside another directory. So for example, let's create a file inside our, if you just take a look at where we are, about the files where we are, ls, we have various files here and folders. Let's say inside file 1 we want to create another file name called file1.txt. So inside file 1, let's create file1.txt. We can use the touch command and you put file 1, which is the name of the directory, and we put the slash. This forward slash here simply means we are moving into another directory or another file, so we are simply specifying the path. So where you will end, since we are using the touch command, so where you will end and putting the extension, that is where your file will be created. So if I put file 1 and I put maybe file.txt, my file will be created inside the folder file 1 and the name of the file will be file.txt. So you can use the ls command and specify the name of the directory to view what we have just created, to view the file1.txt we just created. And you can see it's displayed with a white color, meaning it's the file and it's not a directory. So you already know now that touch command creates files, and then the mkdir command creates directories. So right now let's create a directory inside another directory. So I've shown you how to create a file inside another directory. Now let's take a look at how to create a directory inside another directory. So you have something like make directory. Let's say still inside this file 1 that we created the other file, we want to make another directory called folder. So that's just it. So let's also do ls and see the files inside file 1. So now we have the folder and the file.txt. So this was just the ls command, and with the cd, let's say you want to move into the folder directory, you can just put our cd and then we move to file 1, then we move to folder like we saw the other time. That's just it. And with moving back to the previous directory we were, you can just put cd and you put the minus. You move back to where you were the previous time. That's the meaning of cd minus. And with cd, you can also have cd dot dot, like cd and 2 periods, meaning move to the parent directory, and if you put just a single period, you move to the current directory. Like you see here with the ls command, when you put ls and you put the a option, as you saw last time, put the a, you have a directory here called the period and another one with double period. So the first one with a single period means current directory, the one with double periods means the parent directory. So right now let's move over to deleting files and directories, which is our next stuff on the agenda, deleting files and directories. So to delete a file, you can use the remove command, and to delete a directory, use the remove directory command. So let's say we created this text file, although it's still empty. As we saw, we created a file without putting any text inside. So let's say you wish to remove this text file. You just use the rm command, which means remove, and you put the name of the file. So remove text.txt, and you put ls. You see that it's no more listed. So I can also remove the directories I have inside here, these blue ones, which is the 55, 54, 53. So let's say I want to remove just 55. I can put remove d. Since removing by the directory, I put remove d, I put 55, and that's it. I put ls. You see now that I don't still have any 55 inside. So if I wish to remove many more files, it's still the same as creating more files. So removing more files or removing more directories, you simply use the same command and you give the various files and folders you are working with. So here I wish to remove file 4, file 3, file 2. I just list them and I put enter. Put ls. You can see we are left just with file 1. But now with file 1, as we did earlier, we created stuff inside file 1. So if I put the remove directory and I put file 1, it's going to show me an error that is not empty, and that is because we created stuff inside the file 1. So I can still take a look at what is inside the file 1, ls file 1, and you can see you have a folder inside and you have a file. So if I have to remove this, I can enter inside the folder and I start deleting from the one which is the furthest to the one which is the parent. So what I mean here is I have to enter inside and delete the one which is at the further location till I reach at the one which is at the top directory. You have to delete what is inside before you can delete the folder. So here it means you cannot delete a directory that's not empty. That's basically what this error here specifies. Okay, so delete things inside the file 1 directory. Since file 1 directory contains files and folders, as you see here, to delete it, you can enter inside the file 1. Let's say cd file 1, file 1. You can see we have a folder and we have a file. So let's see if there's something inside this folder. You simply put ls folder. There's nothing inside the folder and we have a file. So to remove the folder called file 1, you have to start from inside, delete this stuff inside here. So to remove the folder, we have remove directory, remove d, and put the name which is folder. And to remove the file, we have remove only, and we have the name which is file.txt. And we can move now to cd. Since I said moving to the parent directory, you can use the double periods. Now you can see we are inside this. Put ls. So if you look at the contents of the file1.txt, we have nothing inside, so removing it won't be an issue. Remove, this is a directory, and you put this. Now we don't have any more files inside here. That's basically it for removing files and directories you created. And guys, one more thing I should give you, it might come in handy, but it's just good to give you a view of what we are seeing ahead. Just want to give you where you can get help. So with Linux, there are various ways you can get help. So if you type a command, maybe ls or maybe remove or maybe remove d, you might need to read the help on that particular command. So when you type a command, to get the help, you can put minus minus help to view where to view how to use the particular command. If I put minus ls minus minus help, that can give me this, and that is where I view the help for the particular command. And if you remember, I used this color once. That's just it. So you can use minus minus help, and you can also use the option of ls maybe minus h. So a short form for help is h. So using the options of a command with the full spelling, you need a double minus sign, and if you use just the abbreviated one, you will need just a single minus sign. That's just it. So you can use the help to view the help for a particular command, and you can also use the man page. You can use man and put a particular command for you to read the manual of that command. So those are the basic ways. So if you type a command and you have errors, or you are trying to do something and you don't really know how to, you can always use the man, and you can also always use the help to see how it works. So let me just put this man and you see how this works. And when you are done reading the man, you just type cure for to quit. And with the man, it explains more detailedly than the help. Help just gives you a brief way on using the command. So let's move on to our next task. Now you have seen already how to create the files and directories, seen how to delete them. Now let's move on to viewing, renaming. Let's move on to renaming files and directories. So let me just create maybe 2 folders here. Let's say you can see I have 2 folders I've just created, folders and folder. So let's say I wish to rename this folder directory. I can put the name as move, use a move command. We put folder, which is the source. So you are moving something from a particular source to a particular destination. That's basically how this move command on Linux works. So you put the move, the name of the source file that you are renaming, and you give the new name there to. So you can put folder, let's say fold. So right now my new document will have the name fold. So the directory I'm renaming here will get a new name called fold. So right now we'll no more have the other directory, which was folder. So we have ls here, just have fold and folders. That's just it for renaming a file, for renaming a directory. So creating a file and renaming it, the same process. Let's say file.txt. Let's say you wish to rename this file to have maybe just files.txt. You can still do the same. Sorry, I typed the command without putting the source file before putting the destination file. I have to put the file name that I'm moving from to a new file. Like I explained before, you have to give the source and the destination. That's just it. That is why I had this error you can see here. So if I type the ls command now, you should see now that we just have the new file that we created, files, and we have this one is a new directory that we renamed. So you can see everything works great. That's just it. So we have seen how to create and rename, create, delete, and rename. So that's just it with files and directories with Linux. So you always have to specify the source and the destination. So this source you have here could be something like maybe a name of a path to a particular directory. So it's not just like you must work with your current directory, you can give a path to work with. So let's say we are taking a look at this folders directory that we have here. So inside this folders directory, let's create a file called folder file. Let's just call it folder file. Let's call it folder file, and we hit and we press enter. So inside this folders, I now have a file called folder file. You can see here I have folder file.txt. Let's say I wish to rename this folder file.txt. It's still the same process. All I have to change is I'm specifying the path. That's just it. You always have to specify the path. But since with the other previous commands we were just in the same directory that we are working with, that's why we were not having to specify a long path to the directory. So if you are inside a directory, you don't have to specify the path again. But if you still specify the path, it will still work. But you are giving yourself much work that the machine could complete for you. So if I put here, so with Linux, you just have to specify the various path. So this is what we have inside our folder file. So if I type the move, since move is to rename, I put folders slash folder file, and I give the new name of the file that I wish to create. But right now, since I'm working in a directory that I'm not inside, I will have to specify the path too. Or if I just give the name of the file, it's going to bring the file inside this directory that I'm currently in. So you should keep that in mind. So I can just put here folder, and I put a new name for the file. Let's just call it file.txt. And then if you do ls again into the folders directory, you'll see now that we have but file.txt instead of what we had there, which was folder file.txt. So that's just it with creating files and directories and renaming them. So our next point we have here is viewing the history. As we have seen here, we have been creating directories, navigating from one file to another. Right now, let's take a look at our history, and that can be simply done by typing the history command. That's just it. Just type history. It gives you all the various commands you have typed throughout using the machine. So this history here might be helpful. Maybe someone used your machine. If you want to know the commands the person ran, this history can help you view it. So you can see put history and you give a value. Sorry guys, the errors here because I was making a mistake with a minus the history command. When you wish to specify the number of history commands it should display, so you have to just give history and you give a figure. You give you the last commands with that particular figure. So history 5 will give you the last 5 commands. History 10 give you the last 10 commands. Maybe history 20 give you last 20 commands, and so on. And there's something you should see about this history display. with the history, it gives you one number before it gives you the command. This number here simply means the number of commands you have run. So right now I've run 2073 commands on this machine. So if I type another next command, it's going to increment this value from 2073 to 2074. So that's just how this display for the history works. So guys, that was it, explaining this lesson 2 for today, and I wish it was helpful and you guys understood how I tried to explain it, because I tried my best to keep it simple for you guys to understand better. So if there's something you don't get or wish to be explained better, or maybe my way of explanation you don't get it, or you wish to give any suggestions, please put that at the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you on our next video.